Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dr. John Brudenell. I'm the Chief Data Officer of Zetaris. I've been with Zetaris for 4 years now. And I actually had a discussion with our founder and CEO about 8 years ago, because we ran our own organisations at the time, and we partnered. We'd partnered together for 20 years before I joined Zetaris. And Vinay said to me, I'm building a platform, a big data platform that's going to handle any type of data, any format of data, unstructured, semi-structured, normalised structures. And I said, Vin, it's impossible. I've been specialising in data management for 35 years. It's not going to happen. Well, it has happened. And it's been that vision that's brought together a great team of software developers that has made that journey so personally rewarding for me, because I've seen the end-to-end data management process automated from all of these different types of data, and to come together in a few years has been a credit to the whole team. What are we doing at Zetaris? Why is Zetaris becoming so successful? For a few years, when I joined 4 years ago, a small startup with a big vision to create a big data platform that managed any type, any format of data seamlessly. Zetaris has developed its data fabric, its enterprise data fabric. As a result of the software development, Zetaris has been able to expand internationally. We've opened an office a couple of months ago in Singapore. We're opening an office in San Francisco. And this year, as a result of this expansion, we've actually doubled quarter on quarter, which has been quite outstanding growth. Because for the first couple of years with Zetaris, we were quite stagnant. The focus was on pure software development, creating our data fabric, and we believe we're now the leader in enterprise data fabric software. So what are we doing at Zetaris? Well, Zetaris is changing the way data is managed in organisations. Data marts, and there's a proliferation of data marts in every organisation. Every organisation I've ever worked in has a multitude of reporting systems, of data warehouses, of business intelligence systems, of data swamps, not data lakes, they're data swamps. Every organisation I've been in has 2, 3, one organisation has 20 data platforms, 20 data swamps, the same data, duplicated, replicated. So we're eradicating the whole concept of data marts and the proliferation and duplication of data inside and outside of organisations. Our aim is to eradicate completely. And our virtualisation software gives us the capability through the Zetaris Enterprise Data Fabric to eradicate these data swamps and the multitude of data marts that exist. We're joining data within data centres to data in the cloud, across the internet, without having to upload the data and without having to move any of the data, because we're managing data at the metadata level. And the query, the centralised queries, regardless of whether the data's stored on a Teradata, an Oracle, a NoSQL database like MongoDB or Cassandra, or an open source database like Postgres, is seamless, because Lightning handles the conversion through its schema store, its metadata manager. It handles all of that seamlessly. And the end user, all they need to understand is ANSI standard SQL. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Teradata BTEC or an Oracle PLSQL or a SQL Server straight SQL. It doesn't matter a NoSQL. I've been hearing for years about schemaless database environments. There's no such thing as a schemaless database environment, and everything we do is based on a schema. Our exception management is a generic schema for our exception management or exception handling application, because it's meant to handle any type of data. So we have to join it back to the source, and we do that through our virtualisation capability, because we don't replicate or duplicate the source. And we define the exception as the source field, the source table, the target field, the target table. We don't know what the value is until we join back to the source, and we do that through our virtualisation technology. As I said, we're the leader in enterprise data fabric. No more data lakes or data swamps, as we're creating what we call the virtual data lake and a logical data warehouse. I can remember reading in Gartner Quadrant 10 years ago about the concept of a logical data warehouse. No organisation has delivered the technology to support a logical data warehouse. And that's one of the reasons why we believe in what we call fluid data modelling, because our logical data warehouse can join data no matter where it resides, no matter what the structure of that data, whether it has a structure or not. A straight file system. And I grew up with file systems. You know, I loved Hadoop because it's a distributed file system. That was my heritage back in the 70s and 80s. It was all file systems before relational database came along. The virtual data lake, the logical data warehouse, that's the next generation of information management systems. And Zetaris is at the forefront of that next generation. In terms of data quality, we know that even 1% of bad data causes a 100% failure rate because of how data interacts with analytics. I'll give you a typical example of a financial services company that we've just completed a data quality analysis that took us 3 months. They'd been trying to find data quality issues for 2 years, and regulators' condemnation of their data quality led them to finally come to us, move away from the biggies. And in 3 months we discovered that one attribute, which is well under 1% of their data, which was a very poor data quality. You may be aware of one of the metrics that financial services organisations have, and that's what's called an LVR, a loan to valuation ratio. Every time you go for a loan, you're assessed as a customer as to what your LVR ratio is. It's based on the asset valuations. Now, when the organisation hasn't valued those assets in more than 3 years, and they've got a loan book of something like $400 billion, all of a sudden, less than 1% of that poor data quality can result in, as it did in this case, $80 billion not being able to be lent out. That's a massive impact on the business, 1/5 of their loan book in less than 1% of data quality. So when I hear organisations talk about, you know, we've got 90% data quality, how great are we? How terrible are we if we have 10% poor data quality? Because less than 1% will give you a terrible business result and a massive impact on your business. So what's 10% going to provide? That's why we've developed and spent many, many years automating the end-to-end data management quality. We call it our data quality and exception management application, because it is an application that's inbuilt into the Lightning software that uses an exception management generalised schema that applies to any type of data that we have already burnt into the FusionDB database. So within Lightning, because it handles unstructured data, we deal with exceptions, NoSQL databases, MongoDB, Cassandra, Hadoop file systems, MapR file systems. We deal with all that kind of data or structured data. And that's exception management schema is in our FusionDB MPP database. The Zetaris Enterprise Data Fabric consists of 4 major modules. The first module is Lightning, with that Lightning bolt, which provides analytical data virtualization. It provides the ability to connect to any type and any format of data, no matter where it resides. Archetype, which you'll see there that on the right, top right-hand quadrant. It's not just our data quality and exception handling application, it consists of all of our business IP. We have enterprise services models for 14 industries. We have enterprise data models, we call business data models, which are the basis of all of our data products. We have 14 industries, fully modelled, end-to-end and proven, models that have been implemented across multiple organisations within that industry. I'll give you an example in the telco industry where we've implemented data warehouses and complete architectures in organisations like Telstra Wholesale, some of the overseas telcos in Singapore and Malaysia. We have 870 business functions fully defined. We have 2,500 business entities fully defined, and every business rule that's based on the technologies or the products that a telco, whether it's a fixed line telco, way back to 2G, 2.5G, 3G, 4G, not yet 5G, but will be 5G soon. We have all of those products covered Those products determine the business rules in a telco, because all of their customer services, all of the products they offer to customers are based on those technology products. We have all the information flows defined as part of that business model, as well as our real-time data quality management, which applies to those business rules, because our data quality is based on business rules enforcement. It's not addressing the symptom of data quality problem, it's addressing the root cause of the problem. Our database engine we call Fusion DB, which is an MPP database. It's like a Teradata, but without the high cost. Because it runs on Spark, it can run in memory. Therefore, it runs up to 10 times faster. And the final product there is Alchemist, our insights publishing tool, which comes free with the platform. So I'd like to finish off that the data management end-to-end process has been made very easy with the Zetaris Enterprise Data Fabric. I'd like to thank you all for attending this morning's breakfast.